The following production is part of the Play Some Video Games podcast network.
I just noticed the live button. You know what? I'm still gonna tell this. Lacey and I were planning to try to have a kid. She's healthy. Doctor said she's good to go. And the only reason I was okay with trying it now was I was like, oh my goodness, a Bears playoff run baby. How great would that be?
Wow, yeah.
And so, dude, we had this whole plan of this special romantic evening after the Bears win. And it didn't happen. And I took that as the universe saying you're not supposed to have children. And I was like, sorry, Lace, it's God. Like, he's saying never have kids. And she's like, no, he's not saying that. So she's actually been more mad at Cody Parkey than I've been depressed. But I was pretty beaten up probably the first 2 days. Like that Sunday, Monday, I was like, oh man, we were that close.
Yeah,
I can tell. It was a special team. Special team. Do we want to do the commercial now, or do we want to do the intro?
I mean, if you got a new commercial, bring it.
No. This is the thing Kev needs us to do. Do it at the end.
Do it at the end.
All right, that works for me. All right. So I make the cough noise. I make the cough noise. Kevin knows to start the actual show, and let's just get our OT on. Let's tell some stories. All right.
Shut up and sit down.
Welcome, family. Thank you for visiting us here at PSVG OT, one of the bestest, most friendliest podcasts in the world. I don't know if that's right. I feel like it's right. Joining me today is my best friend, my dude, Mr. Dev. Hey, Dev, how are you, friend?
I am doing great. This weekend was sorely needed. Had a long week. Work kicked my butt, and I'm just really stoked to be here with my man Mo, and it not be midnight on your side of town. So that's really good.
Oh man, all right. So yeah, like you said, I'm Coach Mo. I'm here joining my dude, and last week we were gonna record, and at around 12 o'clock, I was like, dude, I cannot stay awake anymore. I'm so sorry. I'm going to bed. The worst thing is I was supposed to record That's Entertaining with our dude Nate before our show. But I was just so tired. I was like, I can't do it. I'm going to bed. I'm going to sleep. I'm finished with all this. I'm so sorry. I'm done for the night. It turned out to be a good decision because my Sunday was not a great day. We're not going to get into all that. We already talked about that. Now, I spent a lot of time on the road this week. And during that time, I came up with a couple of things that I wanted to do today, kind of a change of pace OT. So we are going to tell a story, but we're not going to have any questions. Instead, we're going to be talking about something near and dear to my heart and kind of sharing it with you guys. So let's get to our story first before we get to this fun little curveball that I'm throwing. I guess if I'm throwing it, I can't throw a curveball. This knuckleball that I'm throwing. Baseball analogy, pitching noises. Okay, here we go. The story. The story that I have is I was driving. I was just really deep in thought and thinking about, life and decisions and all these things that are going on for me. And I came up to this memory. And that led to more memories popping up. And so our story today is going to be based on what was the dumbest thing you ever did as a teenager. Now, as I thought about this, and I really was into it. I was like, I'm not trying to get anybody put in jail because I did some very stupid things and not all of them were legal. But there is one that I was I felt really comfortable with. So I was like, this is a good story. So here we go, Dev. The Wayback Machine started up. We're doing a young Coach Hulk who's the same size as I am now. So there's really no difference. Just younger. And I remember I had just made the varsity basketball team. Now, this was a big accomplishment, because I'm a younger kid, and I was like, man, yeah, I'm on varsity. And they're like, hey, we're going to jump into the river. I go, this sounds like the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You're playing with me. Now the football team had warned me. They're like, hey, the basketball guys have like all these traditions and these things they do. Like, you need to be a little wary about it. And I was like, okay, it's fine. So we end up going just north of Portland. So like it's Portland, the Columbia River, and then Vancouver. And just north of that is a small place called Le Center. Now, Le Center is famous because it has like casinos and they don't card. So like you can just get in there and gamble. At least back in the day I could. Like we would go in there and I would be like, hey, let me put $25 and play some blackjack. And I would be 14 at the time. And I would get, yeah. Now remember I had a full beard. So in their defense, I did not look like a 14-year-old. I looked like a grown man. And so I get in the car with these basketball guys and we go up. And they're like, all right, so you're going to stand on this bridge. We tell you to, you're going to jump. And then make sure you swim right to the edge as fast as you can. And I'm like, this is really stupid. Now it's dark. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it's me and this sophomore. We're the only two new guys who are doing this. And so me being me, and you've heard stories of how gullible, how ignorant I was. So I get on the edge and I go, man, it is dark. I cannot see the water. I'm like, all right, well, I guess this is what we're doing. So I jump in. Like, I don't even wait for more instructions. I heard jump in, swim to the side. And as I jump, I hear two guys yelling, no, it's a joke. And I'm falling.
Oh, no.
Now, a few years later, I saw the height of this bridge. This is about an 80-foot drop. It's called Multnomah Falls. This is not your normal fall. And luckily, because of me being me, my arms naturally were next to my side. I didn't have them in the air or anything. Mm-hmm. But I hit this water, and I wasn't straight-legged. And I'm telling you, I felt like my feet got pushed up into my stomach. Like just the bam, collapsing me. So I swim to the side, and as I'm swimming, the sophomore I hear hit the water.
Oh, no.
He doesn't swim to the side. This dude starts going downriver. And I'm like, oh, my goodness, what do I do? Do I go after him? Do I get to the side? Like they said, go straight to the side. So I go to the side. I climb out. I'm trying to yell for him. I just start walking. Okay, again, we're in the dark at the bottom. I have no idea how to get up to these guys. So I just start walking. I am soaking wet. My legs hurt. My knees are killing me. Finally, I catch up to the sophomore. I don't want to say his name because I don't want either of us. I don't want him to get in trouble for this or these guys. And so we just start walking. Eventually, we run into a park official. He's like, what are you guys doing? You guys are partying? You guys drinking? And me, being me, again, not understanding that we're not supposed to have done this. I go, well, the seniors told us to jump off this bridge for initiation for the basketball team. So we jumped off the bridge, and now we're lost. And I don't know where to go. And this dude's face is like, either this dude's messing with me, this kid is telling me, oh, he's messing with me, he's really drunk, or he is just an idiot. Option B was, of course, the answer. So we get in his car. He drives us home. The school got in a lot of trouble. Like, I'm not saying like there was a lot going on. Wow. The head coach had to sit down the scenes like, there will be no more of this hazing. Da, 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 da. And I'm just like, what hazing? Again, finding out later, the jumping off the bridge was the hazing. But oh man, just to this day, like that could have been so much worse. Like again, I found out when I was in college, a different school, wasn't ours. They did it, and a kid got caught into one of those whirlpools and drowned. And when they got the boats out, they literally found his body in the whirlpool still circling. Like he was just stuck in there for.
Uh-oh. I lost you. I don't know if that's my internet or yours. I'm going to guess it's yours because I'm still seeing myself talk.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, you're back.
Okay. Internet.
Oh, it's so much fun, right? But that's bananas.
Yeah, just one of the worst. Just the worst. And like, so to this day, like one of those things where any number of things could have gone wrong. Like maybe could have gotten arrested. Maybe could have broken both my legs. Right. Could have died. Like just not a great choice. So now you've all heard my horrible decision-making skills. Dev.
Oh my goodness.
Worst thing you did in high school or when you were young. Like biggest mistake.
It's like, how do you follow that up, right? That's like Donnie with his story on the DLC. About, I'm like, how do I follow that up? Like, I feel like, see, you and Donnie have lived a life. You guys have definitely seen some things and done some stuff. And it makes my life feel very, very boring in comparison because I can't think of anything like on that level. I've done some dumb stuff. Most of it I can't remember because my memory is the worst. Goodness gracious. So I think like as a young kid, like super little, one of the dumbest things I ever did, nowhere near like your level of craziness that it could lead to. But I remember seeing a movie called The Boy Who Could Fly. In this movie, like this kid is like a little bit of a nerd or whatnot, and he doesn't talk. He's got this one friend who kind of like stands up for him and does stuff. And he deals with like the neighborhood bullies or whatnot. And one of the things that he did was he decided to put pee in a water gun to shoot at the bullies. So of course me thinking, oh, that is hilarious. I'm going to harass my sister and do the same thing. But not only did we do that, we decided to shoot at passersby and then also throw berries off of this berry tree, like in our front yard, at cars that drove by. Needless to say, one of the cars we threw berries at put on them brakes real quick. And we got in a lot of trouble for doing that. And then, of course, my sister ratted me out about the gun, so I got in a lot of trouble for doing that as well. Nowhere near life-threatening, like jumping off a bridge with an 80-foot drop. But definitely one of those dumb things you do as a kid.
Had I known it was 80 feet, I would not have jumped off for anything. Like that would never have happened. But it was dark, and I was like, okay, we jump off. Let's go. God, that was a bad choice.
I mean,
I never saw that movie.
You've never seen that movie? I mean, it's a cool movie.
For some reason,
I know I've done something dumber than that, though.
I dated this girl from Hawaii for like it's like one of those like 2-month relationships where you met there. And then when you went back to the mainland, like you still talked for a minute. And then after like 3 weeks, you're like, wait, you live in a whole nother area. This isn't happening. But when we broke up, I remember I wasn't like sad, but I was kind of like nostalgic. And a buddy of mine was like, hey, I always watch this movie when I'm like kind of feeling like I don't know what life's doing. And about this boy who was Irish who tap danced. And I remember us watching it and me going, this helps you? He was like, yeah, man, because like nobody believes he should dance. And then he dances. And he changes the world. And I'm like, I don't know if he changes the world, but like, you know, this is weird. I don't know why. Like when you were saying that movie and then the pee thing, I was like, that reminded me of that moment. I was like, why would this be your go-to movie? Like there's so many better inspirational movies, like Blue Chips. That's an inspirational movie.
Yeah,
that'll get you hyped up for the next level. The Program.
I was just getting ready to say The Program. Oh man, kill them all. The paramedics sort them out. Let's go.
But the little boy who dances, like I don't know. All right, now I know our knuckleball for today.
Oh my goodness.
So because I've been doing the traveling and been on the road doing all these things, I wanted to take a little time to really talk about our 3 favorite podcasts. And not just like we've done some shout outs for the Flux for the Xbox Drive, but I really wanted to take a second and like really talk about some of these podcasts and just kind of why we like them, why we listen, a little bit about them, and you know, just kind of share that out because again, like podcasting is something that I never thought I would do. And then one day Nate was telling me about PSVG and I emailed Donnie and I felt like an idiot and I thought they were never going to give me a chance. And then I got to be on an episode like 5 or whatever it was. And it slowly became like part of who I was. Like this family that we've created is very important to me. And I love them. I love them very much. But like, I want other people to kind of have some of those memories. So I figured I would do one, you would do one, and we just go through and do 3.
Yeah,
so
sounds good.
My first one I'm going to shout out, and I think this one everyone on the PSVG team has at least talked about a little bit, is Podcast Unlocked over there at IGN. What I love about them is Ryan McCaffrey, one, probably the best podcasting voice in the history of podcasting. Like, I don't know how no one's given him a radio show. Just let Ryan talk. Like, he's amazing. He's articulate, smart, funny. There are moments in my life that I remember because of things that happened to him. The episode where his dog, his boxer Maggie, passed away.
Maggie the boxer. Rest in peace.
That led to this show. Because those are the moments that I really loved when they not loved the pain, but loved when they were sharing personal stuff along with gaming and like getting to know them as a group. And so what I love about Podcast Unlocked is, again, it is Xbox centric. We all know I'm a big Xbox person, but what I love about it is he's always trying to get the newest, freshest stuff out there. The team's always just having a good time and laughing. Like, they really do try to just bring out the joy of being a gamer. And I feel like out of all the shows I've listened to at IGN and other major outlets, I feel like they're the most, I'm going to say, unshade throwing. Like, you don't hear him throwing shade at PlayStation or Nintendo. Like, they've literally had segments where they talk about PlayStation. He goes, well, this is an Xbox show, so let's get back on topic. It's not, well, let's talk about the real console. No, you know what I mean? And I love that about him because it comes out from who he is. And so that would be my first one. So thank you, Podcast Unlocked. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, team. You guys helped get me into podcasts, which led to me meeting the people that got me to this. So, dude, how about you? Who would be your number one of your favorite podcasts you want people at the OT to check out?
Before I go into that, I definitely want to throw a shout out to Podcast Unlocked. I am not an Xbox guy, and we all know this. Like, I haven't been indoctrinated, I would say, fully into the Xbox lifestyle. And Podcast Unlocked is one of the podcasts that I actually listen to because it's just so well done and so well put together. I remember tweeting at Ryan McCaffrey one day after listening to one of his shows, like, man, I'm not even an Xbox guy, but I love your show. Like, he just does such a good job of just keeping like the show on course, on track, and letting it go off the rails just enough, and then able to bring everything back together, and just the stories they're able to tell, and like they feed off each other really well. Like there's a certain chemistry that cast has, and it definitely shows. And to me, yeah, it's definitely one of the best put together podcasts on IGN. And I've always loved it. So just a shout out to Podcast Unlocked. It is truly probably the best show on IGN, honestly. Yeah,
and I would be remiss not to mention how somebody like Miranda, who came in when Alana left and just never missed a beat. Like, she does such a great job. She has me more excited for Kingdom Hearts 3 than I've ever been for a game. Like, hype, I'm not a Kingdom Hearts person, but because of the hype she's put in and the things she shared about it, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, so I pre-ordered it. I'm ready to go. So end of this month, me and Kingdom Hearts 3, we're going to dance. So I'm surprised you're not more into that. Like, your love for Disney. I mean, I do love the Disney. I do. But I've never played a Kingdom Hearts game because it was on the other system. And we all know I'm not a big PlayStation person in general. But it was on like PS2. So I've never owned a PS2. What did you have? Just a regular Xbox? I had nothing. So that's what it is. I see. Okay. I had weight room. I had the weight room box. The weight room box was my favorite. I really enjoyed it. I feel like you still have that box all over the house. I do. It's my favorite. All right, so just to throw out like the podcast that kind of got you into podcasting. Like, for me, it was Podcast Beyond before Greg Miller and Colin Moriarty left. Like, that was the show that made me like, man, I want to podcast. I want to sit around with my friends and talk about video games. That podcast, to me, when I think about like
my podcast journey and enjoying podcasting and wanting to be doing something like that, or even like journalism and gaming and anything. Like I remember like hearing about podcasts and be like, I'm not listening to no podcast. What is this? I don't want to hear people talk. I'm good. And then like one of my friends who was big into PlayStation was like, dude, you really got to listen to Podcast Beyond. So I was like, you know what? I'll give it a chance. I'll check it out, see what it's about. And I fell in love like immediately. The chemistry, the back and forth between Colin and Greg and their ever rotating third chair, as they called it. It just drew me in. And being a PlayStation fan and being behind in that generation where everything was about the 360 and how terrible the PlayStation was, it was so refreshing to be like, oh my God, this is the voice of my people. Like the PlayStation has a voice and here it is. So that was like, that's one show that has definitely is what started my journey. I wouldn't say it's my favorite anymore because I haven't listened to it since they left. I gave it a shot, but it wasn't the same. It didn't feel like Podcast Beyond. Like I almost wish that they would have taken it and made it a different show, call it something just different entirely. Because to me, it's not Podcast Beyond.
Now I gave it a listen a couple times because I'm not like a big Max Schofield fan. I really love oh my goodness,
Brian Altano.
Yeah, he cracks me up.
Yeah, I love Brian.
Our humors are very similar. But they have a new guy who's Jordan Dornbush, something like that. I don't know. I've listened to him long. I've listened to him. He now has taken over, and I feel like it's more that Greg style. Like it's a little more like love of the PlayStation and less joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would say if you ever get a chance, maybe give him another shot because I still listen to that one just because of the nostalgia I had. Because my first podcast was like I think it was Unlocked, followed by Beyond, and I was in love with Colin and Greg together. Like I was like, oh my goodness, this is my brain. Super bubbly, giggly, very sarcastic, rolled into one group of people. Like it just made sense. So is it Brian and this new guy Jordan, or is it like Jordan and some other people? It seemed like it's Jordan in a rotating chairs. Okay. I didn't listen to. I listened to the one where he was doing interviews on Game of the Year, but I missed the last two, and like that was right when he officially became the new person or the new voice. So I'm not like an aficionado on it, but I do enjoy listening to him talk. Like he really is passionate about games. So
that's
all right. So my number 2 one is the Hogan Johns podcast. It is a Chicago Bears podcast. And what I love about them is one is a writer for the Chicago Sun-Times, a newspaper that I still subscribe to online because I want to know all the Chicago dealings. And the other one, I believe he works for 670 The Score, but that might be wrong. Like it's one of the Chicago area radio stations. They're both beat writers. They both follow Chicago sports pretty intently. But what I really love about them is how brutally honest and upfront they are. Like they really dive into Chicago sports, and it's not one of those. They said about it was like 4 weeks ago that the Cody Parkey issue is going to be shown in the playoffs. And they were like, he's going to miss a field goal that we need that's going to send us home. Like, it's going to happen because of the miss he had in the season. And then when it happened this week, I was like, man, they called it. Like, because they love the team so much, they're super honest about this kind of stuff. And it was one of those where I was like, oh, I didn't want to believe it. Like, I was like, Cody's going to get it fixed. Like, he's going to Soldier Field. But I remember when we had Robbie Gould was at Soldier Field 5-6 times a week. And we had to force this guy to go to Soldier Field to kick.
Wow.
So I just really love how brutally honest and like open they are. They're not just fanboys. And that just makes it, way more fun to listen to. So that would be my second one. Really nice Chicago sports. If you're a sports fan, I'm telling you, there are people out there making some awesome podcasts talking about the teams you love. So always give them a little search and kind of dive into that.
Cool. I might check that out just to see what they're about. So my second one is the Destiny Community Podcast. If you don't know, I'm a huge fan of Destiny. I have been a fan of it since the beginning, since the alpha, then the beta, D1, and then D2. And I am one of those guys. So I have literally like searched out anything I can find on Destiny, any Destiny podcast. I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to take a listen. And the Destiny Community Podcast has been one that I have been with since the beginning. And it is just amazing. Like the crew, their love for Destiny, and how they are not afraid to be like, this is broken, this isn't working, we love this needs to be changed. Like, it's not like they're just all fun and sunshine. Like, they will be like, yeah, this is not working, this is broken, this needs to change. They hit it from all angles. And their passion for the game shows through, because a couple of them are also streamers. They do YouTube videos. So like, they're really ingrained in the community, and their love for the game and their passion shows. And like, the podcast is just so much fun to listen to. Like, they riff on each other. They some of them live close in close proximity and actually hang out. So they've just got this camaraderie about them that like, they're all about, the Destiny community. And it's funny because like, the Destiny community is another one of those communities where it's not completely toxic. Like, you don't have people constantly ripping each other down. Like, there's a lot of cohesiveness and working together in a Destiny community, which is really, really nice to see in a gaming space. And this podcast kind of brings it all together. They'll constantly bring in just other people from the community and have them on as guests, whether they're a streamer, whether they're somebody who writes a blog about Destiny, just anything like that. And they'll bring you in and they'll conversate and they'll talk about just whatever. They'll talk about the game. We'll talk about what happened this week in the game, what they're looking forward to. And they're just a lot of fun to listen to. So that is definitely one of my favorite podcasts. And if you are into Destiny in any way, or just looking for a fun podcast to listen to, I would say definitely check that one out.
So this is actually going to lead to like a really weird group of stories, but that ties in. So I'm going to start from the beginning. When I was in college, I ended up making a friend who worked at a movie theater. And it basically happened. I walked in, somebody was trying to like steal something, do something, and I kind of got in front and was like, no, that's not okay. Put that back. And the person saw me, the who worked there, and he was like, hey, thank you so much. Like, yeah, that could have been really bad for us. And I was like, oh, no problem, man. Like, yeah, you do good things happen. So he goes, what movie are you going to? I was like, oh, we're going to whatever. And he's like, hey, you don't have to pay. Come on in. I was like, oh, awesome. Free movie. Yeah, let's go. So we went in and he got me a drink and a popcorn, and we went in the theater and sat down and we enjoyed the movie. I came 2 nights later, bought my own ticket, went to another movie just because I don't think I had anything going on. I think it was in the summer maybe. And he sees me and is like, oh, hey, what's up? And I'm like, oh, not much. And so I sit down and watch a movie. And as it ends, like, people were just left their popcorn all over. And there was like this one itty bitty little dude to clean this whole big theater. So I was walking through and picking stuff up and throwing it in the trash. And he's like, you don't have to do this, sir. And I'm like, dude, I'm on summer break. Like, all of my teammates are gone. I have no one to hang out with. It was before I played video games. So like, I just was like, this gives me something to do, man. And the dude who I befriended a couple days earlier comes through and he's like, hey, man, you're awesome. Thank you. He's like, you know what? Come here. He introduced me to the girl working in the front. And he goes, if you ever see this guy come in, he doesn't pay anymore. He just gets in. The dude I befriended was like the manager of this theater. And so for literally the next 3 years that I went to that school, I didn't pay for a movie, me or my wife. And we became friends, and he was kind of into video games and kind of into sports and kind of into like comics and all these things that I wasn't into. And so like, it was a really weird, different friendship for me. Like, I'd never had a friend like this. Mm-hmm. And then we moved because I got my first coaching job. And then I did really well, and I got a promotion and moved all the way down to Florida the first time. And we stayed friends. And we stayed friends through the craziest fantasy sports teams of all time. Me, him, and a group of his friends made a fantasy football, basketball, hockey, baseball league that were all connected. I'm talking, I could trade you. Listen, it took a lot of Excel sheets. It took ESPN being worked to the brim. But we were able, like, we would trade and say, hey, I will give you LeBron James, but I need Clayton Kershaw and a hockey player. Like, legit, these are the trades that were going on in this league. And when there was money involved. Like
Oh,
it
wow.
was bonkers. And so I remember I had just moved here. I was really missing that group and all the fun stuff we had done. And he called me up and was like, hey, I know you really need a pitcher. I was like, yeah. He goes, how about you send me a pitcher and you buy me this Destiny game? And I go, what's Destiny?
Yeah.
And he goes, is this game coming out? Da, da, da. It's going to be great. I say, you know what? Deal. So I end up going to the midnight release. It was my first official like midnight release where like everything's on and popping.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, I remember I went to the systems one, but it was not like this. This was like, these people were like nuts about this game. This line was huge. I pick it up. I end up buying one for myself for the PS4. I come home. I install mine. I get his rated mail. I start playing. I play through all of Destiny 1 single player. No teammate. No nothing. No raids. No. What are the other things called?
Well, strikes, but they're
Strikes.
definitely match made. You would have played with people on that one.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't have been talking.
Just played through the single player. I was like, oh, that was fun. And sent it to him. Then I met Dan and those guys, and I played Destiny for the first time for real, and it completely changed the game. So the reason I told that really long, kind of sad, weird story is Destiny's one of the games that once you find the right people, it's really easy to like get into hard. And so if you liked Dev's recognition of a Destiny podcast, I'm telling you, once you find that squad, man, it changes everything. I remember the first time me and Dan playing through and doing, I think it was Destiny 2. We finished the story together, I think once or twice. And I was like, this is so much better with your dude next to you, like helping you go through and wreck people and you know, finding gear and grinding through the missions. So just wanted to share that out, my little Destiny story. Because
one day we're gonna have to all play together and do a raid or something.
I need to get a raid done. Those achievements stare me in the face, Dev. Like they stare me right in the face. They're like, you can't beat me because you don't have enough people to play. All right, back into it. Now, my last one, I wanted to go with like one of the ones we've talked about before, but I feel like because we have talked about it before, it's better to go a different way. So that's what I'm going to do. Because like we said in the beginning, we've shouted out Flux. We love them. We've shouted out Boards of Video Games. We've shouted out PSVG proper. We've shouted out the Xbox Drive. But this next one, like, it's one of those ones where it's weird because, like, I didn't fit in with them until just recently.
Okay.
So I'm not an MTTG alumnus the way that Donnie and Kev are, right? Like they were on that entry level listening in the beginning, just getting hooked on the family and all that stuff. I like listened a little bit and I maybe posted like 3 or 4 things on the message boards. Like I just was like kind of on the back seat of that beginning MTTG. But then when they brought in the McCracken, he's one of those cats that like I just adore when he's on there talking and throwing out love. Like we have a kind of a similar humor because like I love it when he takes a picture and puts it on Twitter because it's always the same facial expression. Like, and when you meet him, he's super like nice and polite. Like I got to meet him and his wife and Gabe, and I had a blast. Like they're so wonderful, like just really, really awesome people. But like when him and Ed came in and that show kind of rounded out a little bit differently, dude, I got hooked. And I don't always like email questions or anything, but God, I listen. And they just kind of keep getting stronger. And so if you've not listened to the Married to the Games podcast, I'm telling you, man, that is a lot of what we've seen stem comes from them. And it comes from the love they show their community, the love they show for each other, the things they're doing. Like if it wasn't for the fact that I'm donating my extra like coffee money to the Patreon over here at PSVG, I would probably be sending money to them too. And it's just because like they're just a great group of people. Like they really are. And it's one of those things where the more you listen the more you want to go back to the earlier stuff. And it just kind of from start to end, it's been one of those podcasts where they're just all about loving on people. They're all about lifting people up. Yes, they make fun of Nintendo, and I'm totally okay with that. Make fun of Nintendo as much as you want. Okay. But that's the one I'm gonna shout out. So
it's funny. It's probably a good thing that they made fun of Nintendo, because if they didn't, I don't think that PSVG would exist. I think a huge part of the reason why Donnie was like, you know what, I want to do a podcast and I want to talk about Nintendo was because of how little love Nintendo got from MTTG. It's so funny that you say you weren't one of like the alumnus, but I feel like I remember you writing in and the story about the kid that you had that you were like it was not fostering,
my international student. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I remember that story, and it feels like so long ago.
Oh yeah.
I feel like it was before Chris and Ed were on there as hosts. I feel like that was back when you had the two Tims.
Yep.
So I feel like you definitely are an alumnus, because that's where I remember you from.
Yeah. See, the reason I don't say alumnus is like some of those guys, like when I came in, it was like episode like 200. You know what I mean? Like that's a lot of episodes prior to where I came in. So, but yeah, no, big shout out to those guys. And oh man,
it's funny.
Never have international students. They're crazy. They're crazy. Never have international students. That was
yeah.
Oh God.
That's funny tough, because that was going to be my number 3 as well. That was the one I was going to shout out as well. Because
then talk about it. You're good.
Like you said, man, everything kind of stems from them. They're kind of like, I look at them as the mothership, I listened to them, and that was the one podcast I was like, okay, I think I can actually do this. And when Donnie put out the call, I was like, yo, I want to be a part of that. Because I used to go back and forth with Donnie, like in the message boards on Twitter when he was born a Buckeye before this playing Nintendo stuff. I would just talk trash to him too, the same way we do now. So
there's no G's in playing Nintendo.
There's no G's. None.
Ain't no G's. No.
Ain't no G's. But I mean, that was our relationship then, and it's carried over into PSVG. But all of the different podcasts that I feel like that we see, that we listen to, a lot of them come from that community, have stemmed off like, oh my God, we can do this. So I love the MTTG community. I love what they've done, and the fact that they uplift the community, and it's such a community-based podcast. It lets everybody else feel like we can do this too, and we can be a part of this. I got to meet them down at E3, I think 2 years ago. Got to meet all of them, Ed, Tim, Chris, and Gabe, and it was awesome. Me and Chris, like we shared that love of Destiny and that hype, and that like grew our friendship, and it's just been a blast listening to them and watching them grow. Like when Chris came on, it was like, oh man, I saw this coming a mile away. Like it was in the tea leaves. And I'm like, I'm so glad that you're on there, because yeah, I love Chris's humor. That one Twitter that he has where he just takes the picture of him not smiling and everything. It's great. It's awesome. Like I love the McCracken. We got to get him on the OT at some point.
We were supposed to at one point in time, but I think I was supposed to follow up, and I don't think I ever did. It's like, okay, so we've had like 4 people that like were on my bucket list. Like, hey, I want to get them on the podcast. Mm-hmm. Him being one of them. And literally all 4 responded and said, oh, I just don't have time right now. And I was like, okay, let me know. But like, I was so like satisfied and happy with the, hey, maybe, that I was too scared to go back.
Well, you hear that, Chris? Look, hit us up, man. We got to have you on the OT. He was like one of the people who was like, hit me up. Like, when are you guys going to have your own feed? I know you guys having your own feed. Like, everybody else getting their own feed. When are you guys getting it? So I know he listens. So, McCracken, let me know when you want to be on the OT, when you got some time. Come chop it up with your boys. Delvin Cox is another one, man. We got to get Delvin on here at some point.
DC, are you with me?
And Chalfie, you need to come on the show as well and give us some of your crazy stories, because I know you've got some crazy nutso stuff to talk about. Mm-hmm. So we got to make that happen. But yeah, man, MTTG, that's the one, man. You gotta if you haven't listened to them, you definitely got to check them out.
Man, just good memories.
Oh. Absolutely.
All right. So now this is where we get towards the end of the show, where we do the wrapping of the up. So I'm looking at our list. We have our Patreon sponsor, our what we're doing, and our goodbye left. So do I do that now, or do you have?
Yeah, go for it.
All right,
I got nothing else right now.
The curveball, I'm always ready for it. Like I try to keep my weight back just in case. But I just want to make sure I was prepping.
Yeah, I got curveballs, but I'm gonna wait for a different couple of shows. I got some good stuff coming your way that you're just not aware of.
This is why you keep the weight back and you're ready to go.
You got to be ready.
Our Patreon producer of the month. We had a long list. A lot of people are really trying to get behind the OT, and we're really grateful for all that. But this month we're sponsored by AutoSnipe. AutoSnipe to help you play Anthem better, Donnie.
Oh yes.
I just thought of that when you were making fun of him shooting, so I thought that'd be hilarious. I was gonna do cheese fries this month, but that was too big of an opportunity. So AutoSnipe, thank you for backing us. Back to you,
Absolutely.
Dev.
Yeah, so I was supposed to have the list, but I can't find the list of other people who we're supposed to thank. So Bonesaw, we're definitely gonna thank you. Chaffee, thank you. I know you just joined up, and thank you for becoming a part. Mo, we need another commercial from you, bro. So
I've been writing a couple. Listen, I've got one stored. I have the whole month because I only get him on every show once because of the fact that they don't want them all the time because they're hilarious. But back to okay. So to end the show, I'm going to go with me first because I was just talking about it. I'm working on a commercial to, again, basically, it's not throwing shade, but I want to kind of get, if I can get Seth's feathers ruffled, then I know it was a good commercial. Because there's no, to this day, him posting in the Discord, do we have to have this commercial part of the show? I was dying. I had to set my phone down. I was laughing so hard. I was like, that's a great commercial. So I can get it one more time. So I've been working on some stuff. But other than that, my big article came out. I want to say thank you so much. I've gotten a lot of messages, way more than I thought I would, of people who actually read it. And it is a tough read, guys. That is a long night's read. But thank you guys for that. Thank you for the love. I'm not working anything else. I just have to work on the commercials and personal stuff. So that's it for me. So Dev, what are you working on, bud?
So what I was trying to do last year, I was trying to actually get through my backlog, play a game every month, and then blog about it. Like just my experiences with the game, not necessarily a review, but just my experiences, my thoughts on the game. And life just was all over the place last year. As a matter of fact, we're actually going to be, I guess, celebrating. I don't know if it's really a celebration, but we're going to be dealing with the anniversary of my mother-in-law's passing next week. And that was just part of the life that hit me and just kind of derailed everything last year. So I'm going to try to do that again this year, going through my backlog and then blogging about it or putting it on our Patreon site. Just my thoughts of the game, what I liked, what I didn't, what I think may happen in the future of the franchise. And this month's game is actually Spider-Man because I don't finish games. So I'm going to finish games, and Spider-Man is the first one that I'm tackling. I'm like 60% done with the game. Next month will be a combination of Anthem and Detroit. I actually kind of want to try to finish Spider-Man this weekend and then start on Detroit and see if I can get through that by the end of the month and actually get 2 games done this month and write about them both, because I feel like Anthem is going to absolutely take a bunch of our time because, it is the winner for the 2019 Hype Award for PSVG. Other than that is all I'm really working on and trying to secure all the pieces so I can actually stream, because my internet in this room is not capable of doing that, and my computer is kind of garbage. So need to get a better computer to be able to actually capture footage and stream and stuff like that. But other than that, that's all I'm working on.
Proud of you. That's way more than I'm doing. So with that, we say goodbye, family. We're going to miss you. You have a great week. We're sorry we missed last week, but like we told you, we're going to do our best to be better. So with that, it's game over.
Shut up and sit down.
This has been a PSVG production. Any music, sound effects, or the like is owned by their respective copyright holders. No infringement is intended. The views expressed in this production are those of the individual contributor and may not necessarily reflect PSVG. This production may not be repurposed, reused, or redistributed without the express written consent of PSVG. PSVG is powered by patrons at patreon.com/PSVG. Become a patron to get special perks, including access to exclusive content.